Welcome to the Kingdom Culture Podcast that was created on purpose with a purpose to empower, uplift, and guide others to the center of God's perfect will. Kingdom Culture family, welcome back to the Kingdom Culture Podcast. I hope everybody's been having a great week. For the last 2 weeks, I've been talking about what it feels like to be over capacity, gave you strategies to work with, and this week I want to give you micro rest sessions, or what I do in between the tasks so that you can actually rest. I wanted to dive into why it is so important to rest so that you don't feel overwhelmed. My mindset mentor last week was talking about that there is two parts of your brain, or two nervous systems. So I thought that was super cool. So the first one is the sympathetic nervous system, which is the one that has you feeling like fight or flight or go all the time. And I didn't know this was a thing, but I did operate out of this side of the brain mostly because I felt like I couldn't rest. I couldn't think of something else. I always had to think about the next best idea and had to keep running all the time, in the shower, at the gym, and vacation. And that's not the way we should do things, because that's how we get burnt out. The other side, or the other nervous system of the brain, is the parasympathetic nervous system, and this is rest, relaxation, and reset, where most of us should be working out of, right? So that side of the brain allows you to stay calm and be calm and stay collected instead of feeling like you need to keep going all the time. Your brain needs rest just like anything else, right? It's kind of like the gym for me. You do your first set, and then you rest for 30 seconds or a minute, and then you go to your next one. Your brain needs the same thing. I found that it's easier to work in sprints then rest, sprint then rest, than it is to run at full capacity all the time. Like I've shared before, I work for an hour, rest for 5 minutes, work for an hour, rest for 5 minutes, work for an hour, rest for 5 minutes, and I repeat until all of my work or tasks are done. This is allowing my brain to rest and reset before entering a new task. So for you multitaskers out there, sure, you can feel cool about multitasking, but are you really? Your brain can't do two things at once when it comes to doing things. It actually takes like a millisecond or even less time, but it has to switch tasks. It has to switch its focus. So imagine like a really flashy movie of like pictures that are like super fast. That's what multitasking feels like to your brain. So you feel exhausted. You exhaust all of your energy so quick because you're not allowing your brain to rest. So allow yourself to sit still. It doesn't even have to be for 5 minutes if you don't feel like it. Start with resting for 2 minutes and then increase your time, right? The rest part of this is just existing with nothing to do. Like I shared last week, I sit in silence, I close my eyes, and I sit down. And I do nothing. I don't look at my screens. I don't look at my phone. I don't check my emails. I don't talk to anybody. I just sit still and be quiet. It could be a struggle for some of us, right? I think I've shared before in the podcast that there was this experiment that was done where 30% of women chose to get an electric shock, than to sit with themselves for 15 minutes. And 60% of the men chose the shock instead of sitting with their own thoughts. That's kind of crazy to me, right? Because that means that we cannot exist without doing something or being occupied. So learn to sit still, learn to, be okay with sitting with your emotions and your feelings or your thoughts, because it is so healthy for you. Because everything in life expands and contracts, right? Everything goes through seasons. We as humans are no different than a tree that loses its leaves in winter and grows them back in the spring. You'll have really busy seasons, you'll have slow seasons, seasons of fully rest, seasons of studying, seasons of rediscovering yourself, etc. But everything expands and contracts. There's not a thing in nature that doesn't do that. So why do we think that we're different than nature? Right? Then that's the main point that I want to give you is everything expands and contracts. Everything has a rest season. Everything has a season of change. Everything has a season of, I don't know, right? So why would you want to continue to expand, and not contract? Like an arrow, right? The more that you pull it back, the further it's going to go. So the more that you rest and you allow yourself to rest and feel okay with it and not shame yourself for resting or feeling like I should be productive for those 5 to 10 minutes, the better that you're going to be off and the better your tasks are going to get completed. The best work comes when you are fully connected and rested. No matter what happens, the best work is done when you feel like you are at 100%. Right? Rest is what makes you feel refreshed and ready to keep going. Rest for me, like I said, it's working an hour and resting the 5 minutes. I do that for the whole day, and I make sure that I disconnect from studying, work, or whatever else by 9 p.m. That's it. I work a 9 to 5, so I have to wake up really early to get a morning routine in, and then I have an evening routine that allows me to study for another 2 hours or get work done another 2 hours before I have to be with my family and bedtime. What does that look like for you, right? What do you have to start doing or changing or choosing so that you have enough time to get all your tasks done and you don't feel like you need to go to bed and feel like you didn't get anything done? Right? What are your routines? What is that going to look like? What do you need to do? What are the tasks that you actually have to get done to move the needle of your life to what you want it to be? So start thinking about that stuff. For me, when I was first figuring this out, I was like, well, what do I have to do? What is it? Right? Find your passion. Find things that make you happy. If your 9 to 5 pays your bills and you're happy, perfect, awesome. But what else can you do outside of work so you don't feel like you're stuck or that, you don't feel like you're just in a cycle of the same day every day? Take a different route to work. After work, go meet up with some friends for ice cream. Go to the park. Go for a walk. Go talk to a random stranger. I don't know. Just start thinking about those things so that you can start building routines that make you feel alive. Rest is part of that too, right? And as always, I love to give you guys Bible verses where I found that the Lord actually speaks to us about this. And this week's verse is Matthew 11:28 through 30. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew 11:28-30 emphasizes the balance between diligent work and the necessity of rest, highlighting the holistic approach to life that Jesus teaches. So it gives us an invitation to rest. The verse that says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, I will give you rest," acknowledges that life and work can be exhausting and burdensome. Jesus offers rest, signifying the importance of taking time to rejuvenate physically, mentally, and spiritually. And then we're learning from Jesus. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. A yoke was a tool used to pair animals together to share the workload. Jesus invites us to work alongside him, learning from his example of gentleness and humility. This suggests that our approach to work should not be harsh or overwhelming, but balanced and manageable. Our workload has to be balanced and manageable. This is amazing. And then the third point that you learn from in this verse is the verse that says, "For my yoke is easy and burden is light." Jesus contrasts his yoke with the often heavy burdens of life. By following his teachings and example, we can find a sustainable rhythm in our work that doesn't lead to burnout. This means working diligently, but also knowing when to step back and rest. That's amazing, right? The Bible encourages hard work and diligence, but it doesn't advocate for relentless toil without rest. So make sure you know that your diligent work is important, but you must have a balanced life with rest. The balance leads to a healthier, more sustainable, and spiritually fulfilling life. Jesus himself said that the work is heavy, and he gave us examples of how he would live his life. You can do the same. So I hope that this brought value to your life, and then you start resting and you realize that it's okay to rest. I know we all have dreams, we all have goals, and they're going to get done. The finish line doesn't move, you do. So the less that you feel good, the less that you're probably going to work on things. So rest and get yourself into a mindset of feeling better, doing better, right? I love you guys, but remember that the Lord loves you more and more and more. Always, 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 always. We'll see you guys next week. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. And leave a review if you would like to. God bless.